Hello everyone, Kenty Tiger here with Bengali Engineering and Play. I can speak today. So we are back in Space Engineers. We're actually continuing on with the Torpedo series. We'll go ahead and call it the Torpedo series. So in the last couple episodes of the series, we've actually built our bomber, and in this one, we're going to start playing around with the torpedoes. Now, as you can see on my blueprint screen here, I've already spent some time doing this. So it was a matter of learning, uh, playing around with all the different blocks and elements and figuring out how to make things work. So one of the neatest things about torpedoes, oh, excuse me, that I can tell is compound blocks. I think that's the best terminology for it. It's literally a block, and then you can place other blocks in that block. So, as you can see here on my toolbar, we're going to build. I've kind of had this discussion before. How many ways are there to build a torpedo? And the answer to that is as many people as there are to build them. That's how many variations we could have. So I'm going to build a torpedo in two different sections. And the reason why I'm building it in two different sections, so we have a guidance section and we have a warhead section. Now, why am I doing that? Well, being now 23 years of military, I have a, shall I say, keen awareness of ordnance. So, missiles. Missiles have a basically missile section. That's the drive section, the guidance, everything that makes the thing move. And then there's a warhead. And a lot of ordnance, a lot of missiles have different types of warheads. So the idea there is that you have a missile, the thing that makes it move, and then you have the warhead. And so we're going to design our missiles, torpedoes, to be similar. Okay, obviously our building is going to be a little different. So, having said all that, let's skip over here and have a look. All right, so let me get one more block here. So I kind of worked out the details of, it's like the ultimate flexibility in missile. Okay, so my concept was I want to build a missile that can do anything that any player could ever possibly want. So all the different blocks here are really neat. Now the guidance is a separate mod. So the guidance brings in kind of an AI aspect to this. So this little guidance thing, when you get it set up and call it, it will actually lock onto a target, and once it's locked, will launch the missile for you. So it locks on, you push the other button, which is the launch, and it will literally launch. The booster goes, and oh, excuse me, middle of the night here, um, and it guides it in, arms the warhead, I presume. I haven't actually played with these, and then, or warheads, I presume, and then detonates, I hope. So we're going to play with this eventually. This episode, I think we're just going to spend building our torpedoes. So what I want to do is go through all these so you can see what they look like, and then we'll go from there. So torpedo penetrator. This is just a really solid thing that is designed to impact. Oh, let's see how many times I can yawn during this episode here. It doesn't blow up. It just hits really hard and goes through. Torpedo sprue. Sprue. Don't know what that is. Actually, I have no idea. Power cell. So it's a big battery. Payload battery. Um, Payload, at least by what I can tell here, is a block that goes into another block, such as this one. Oh, I had them. Where were they? This one, or in fact, where is it? Darn it. This one. So this is where we got into these compound block things that I was telling you about. So a lot of these blocks actually have either 3 or 4 recessed areas. You can see them pretty good here. So this is one on the top or the bottom, depending on how you want to look at it, and the side. Here's again the top and the side. And all of these ones that look like, hey, they might fit into something like that, they actually do. So we have a power cell. We have a payload battery, which is really a battery that fits into these slots. We have a artificial mass, a payload artificial mass, so that would go into one of these slots here as well. We have a couple different thrusters. So we have the main thruster, which is an ion drive thruster. We have a hybrid here, which is kind of like a hydrogen thruster. So apparently it can go anywhere. And then we have an atmospheric thruster. We have a couple lateral thruster, LP, I'm not sure what that means, lateral thruster, and then a payload thruster, which is literally a block that goes into this side here. So that's what that one's all about. We have atmospherics over here. Now what I could not find in this style was a hybrid of some kind, so doesn't seem to exist. Stabilizer, it's a big gyro. Okay, so you see all these larger pieces like this one, this one, this one. We have the artificial mass, we have the reactor here, we have the mount point, and then the different thrusters here, a booster. All of these are a single block piece that you can put in. The ones that are specifically related to these compound blocks, the merge cylinder, we have a conveyor, and then we have this CC interface. So the only ones that are connected all the way through is this conveyor block. And the only ones that are really relevant to this are, you have the payload reactor and the payload cargo. So what I did on one of the builds just playing was I had this conveyor, I put a reactor in it, I actually put a gyro on the bottom because that's what, given all the different slots, that's what I used. And then I had one cargo within that. So between the two of these, excuse me, between the two of these we had uranium between the two of them. So could pretty much run forever, I think. Alright, on we go. So thruster. Thrust booster. So presumably that does what it says it does. These side thrusters. So I think these lateral thrusters, what you can actually do is attach them on top of these other blocks. So I didn't try those specifically, but we can play around and see what happens. We can actually we'll make, just for the fun of it, we'll make an atmospheric torpedo just to have fun. On we go. Stabilizer, so that's basically a gyro. Payload gyro, so gyro. We have a torpedo reactor, which is a full block reactor, so presumably can put quite a bit of power out there. And the payload reactor, which is one that fits in these little slots. We have a cargo container that fits in these little slots. CC interface, I'm not sure what CC is, but what I have found these do is that you have your hard point, which is what actually mounts onto whatever ship, station, whatever is you're mounting to these. So this is your hard point, which your torpedo is going to mount to. This interface actually connects onto this thing. So your hard point goes, it's basically a merge block. Say these two basically are merge blocks. So your hard point. Merge cylinder. So the merge surface is this one here. So if you stick those two together side to side, and they will merge. So this is what my concept was that I have a warhead that will merge onto the actual booster. Alright, blank. So payload blank. Nothing in it. Just takes up the space there so it doesn't look like a hole. Conveyor. So this is actually a conveyor. So you can actually put stuff in and out of it. I'm assuming that's what this adapter does here. I didn't play with any of these to figure it out, but you know, we have these pylon things that obviously they're hooking into something. So don't know exactly how they work, but I presume so we can pull these out and play with them. We've got struts, different struts here to play with. Payload sensor. So it's a sensor that goes into a payload slot. Beacon, kind of nice. Antenna. We have a payload timer, which apparently goes with the payload programmable block. Then we have a camera, topside camera there. Payload remote. We have a decoy. We have a spherical gravity generator. Not sure why you would need that on a torpedo, but hey, it's there. We have a payload warhead. So that's what you see down here. Got a payload warhead. I'm going to drag a battery down there because that's the only other thing I need. Not sure what this is, but we'll discover. Torpedo cockpit. So there may be another interesting thing to use. It says large ship only, so that does make sense. And we may actually do some of the just build large torpedoes just for the sake of seeing what some of these things can do. Torpedo connector. So that might be interesting, figuring out how to make these things connect in with everything. We have a atmospheric torpedo thruster. We have these lateral thrusters, which, as I said, I am presuming that these things actually just bolt onto the side. Could be. So talked about the sphere, gravity spherical generator, and a solar payload module there. We have the explosive penetrator, so obviously it explodes, versus this one, which just rams in and breaks things apart. Now I'm not sure what the small merge block is here. Have no idea. Not sure what it is, why it's there, why it would be in the category, whether it's actually part of the mod or not. I really don't know. All right, so let's work on building a warhead, and just for fun, we're going to build it in the large size, just so we can see a little better what all these various things are doing. Okay, there's a payload battery. All right, so it really doesn't matter which direction we go. So I'm going to build from this side. Okay. We're gonna do the tiger orange, or let's do a blue, just for fun. Or should we do black? Black might be hard to see, so let's do a blue. So this is the merge cylinder, and you can see all these little holes here, and these are going to be for our payload modules, I'm going to call them. So one of the things, oops, punched the wrong button there. One of the things that I figured is going to be kind of important is a battery. So I put this on the what I consider the bottom, and then I thought having 3 extra warheads in here would be, this is not doing, there we go. Alright, so I'm going to turn that one over just because. I'm going to come over here and turn that one over just because, and then stick this up in the top. Alright, so we basically have 3 warheads on this module and that battery, so that way this forward section is powered, and then we have an explosive penetrator mounted on the front of this thing. So this is our warhead. So very simple in how we do this. We just put the different modules in the blocks and then attach our warhead on, and boom, we're done, right? Pretty simple, pretty straightforward stuff. Alright, lots of control panels here, so we're gonna name this a little better, just so we can create a mock-up build, and I'll show you why, because projectors are good things. So this is a torpedo explosive penetrator, the merge cylinder, and I'm going to just call this torpedo merge warhead, and this will make sense eventually, so just bear with me for now that calling that the torpedo merge warhead really will make sense. Okay, and we're going to call this warhead 1, and then warhead 2, and warhead 3. So currently, one of the things you notice is that this merge block is me. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and change everything to me just because. Alright, and so torpedo hardpoint. Alright, what I'm going to do here, this is kind of just a little sidelines thing. Get out and away here. So what you saw is I brought in the torpedo hard mount here. Let's go back to let's do a dark gray here. All right, so armor block. Let's we don't need too many blocks here. So this platform here is going to be we're going to do multiple things here. So let me get on to 8. We're going to bring in a small reactor, have the projector sitting here. Alright, so our small reactor, trying to think of, alright. This really will make sense. So I'm designing this little platform as a multi-capable platform. So back to number 1, and we will put down blocks over here, here, that one out. Actually, let's take this one out. So we'll put the block there. So remember, you see we have this this quad, like a crisscross there on the very top. Let me, so we have the crisscross there. I brought up the color picker because it turns the model solid, so we can see it a little better. So if you see here, hopefully you can see my cursor on the screen here, the little blue thingy. So we have this quad intersection here, and then we have this thing in here. So this is the top and this is the front. Now, how do I know that? Well, if we look at the diagram here, this is showing that cross is the top and this is the front of the block. So you can also look on the wiki, and it shows something kind of similar, even though it doesn't expressly say, or it didn't before, I haven't read it recently, even though it doesn't expressly say what's the front, what's the top, it's how it shows it that makes it appear as though this is the front and the top. So having said that, I'm going to go ahead and put this guy in here, and so that's the top, and I want my front to be towards the connector there. Alright, so let's go ahead and make this, so we need cargo blocks. We'll pull in a small container here, no longer need a projector, and we'll put our small container right here. And then we're going to grab more blocks and put them in here. Maybe we should put a battery in here somewhere, huh? Which would... Alright, I'm going to do that. Alright, now I'm going to cheat. Control 10, uranium ingot, spawn a bunch. Why am I doing this? Is this really cheating? This is a created platform, and what this platform is intended to be is to test our ability to put our torpedoes into a projector and then create them from a projection, hence the projector. So, oops, okay, let me remove that battery. The reason why that's a Kenti battery, and Kenti batteries are like 3 times as powerful as a regular battery. So I don't really want to use a Kenti battery. So we'll take a regular battery and put it in here. And why am I doing that? Well, I want to I want this little platform here to be vanilla. So that's why I did that. All right, inventory. I'm going to drag a little bit of material into there, and then we'll put the rest into this cargo container. Alright, so this guy turned green now, and we will go to the battery and set the battery up as recharge and semi-auto. Okay. The next thing we will do is highlight all this and set it to me. Alright, the very last thing that we're going to do, and I think we're going to do it right on top of, we'll do it off to the side. 1, this hard mount. put it right there. All right. Okay, torpedo hardpoint, and we're going to set that to me. All right, so here's our little mock-up of a mounting station with a projector. Now, what was the whole point of this? The whole point of this was to demonstrate, once we get all this done, how this whole thing could conceivably work. So let's take the bomber over here, and I haven't wandered too close to the bomber yet because I've done some changes, some updates, some continued building while off screen here, so off camera. So one of the things that I've done over there is added on the hard points. So I was trying to conceptualize how to do this, and I went through several iterations. At one point I had the ability to put I think it was 16 torpedoes onto this bomber. So there was 4 on the top and 12 on the bottom, so 16 total. The third or fourth or fifth iteration, I think I'm on the 5th iteration now, which is actually 2 hard points on the top, so almost center line on the wings, so inboard on the wings, on each side, port and starboard. And then underneath there's actually 3 hard points on each wing, so 6 hard points underneath, and then 1 hard port aft, okay, facing aft. So that way if somebody is actually chasing you in this particular bomber, then you could literally lock that missile on and put a big hole in their nose, potentially. So they would have to do an awful lot of stuff. So having said that, let's go ahead and have a look-see, and we'll go over here and see what I've done. So we talked about what would be the best way, most practical way to reload this thing. Is it self-sustaining, which is to say, you know, put welders on it? And I don't think that's really the way to go. So what I decided was projectors, and the projector is actually projecting a specific torpedo here. So what you can see is this hard point, this hard mount, and it's sitting into the CC interface. And the CC interface, you can tell, is a little bit different colorations than the rest of the missile. And what that means is that this is ready to be welded. Okay, and then we have a mock-up of the rest of the missile here. And you can tell it's facing aft. Okay. So we have our thruster, we have our thrust booster, we have, of course, the sun is just totally obnoxious. We have a container over here. In this aft portion we have a reactor. On the upside of this we have a gyro, so payload gyro, and then on this side, kind of hard to see, we have a battery. Let me see, on this block here, and we'll play a little bit, but this was kind of the concept I came up with. So let me see, the conveyor had the reactor, a battery, a container, and then the gyro in it. The mount, which is this one here that we're looking at, the reticle, has the guidance block, which is that one on the bottom. At least I think that's the one on the bottom. And 2 batteries. Because the hard point actually mounts into this, there's really only 3 slots on this particular one. On the merge block, I have a sensor, so kind of hard to see because the blasted sun So bright. So this little tiny piece here, down there at the bottom, right there, is the sensor. We have an antenna on the side, so looky, cute little antenna there. We have the remote control on the other side, and then we have the antenna. Camera. Sorry, the camera. Here's the camera. This is that warhead, just like the one we're building up yonder. So literally the same idea. And on this side is the remote control. So that's what the remote control. The remote control looks almost identical to the guidance block. So anyway, the projector for this actually is right here. So it is active. If I have my settings correct, it will remain active. So when you fire the torpedo off, then the projector will show you that you can build another one. But to actually build the other one, you're going to have to fly over some sort of like a welding facility. Now, the good news is when you're in a cockpit, the welding doesn't affect you, so it won't kill you, at least that I'm aware of. It didn't used to kill you. Let's go. Okay, so just for sake of having seen it, so here we go. We have the center line, the inboard, underside. We have a center, and then we have the outboard. So we should be able to have 3 missiles under each wing on the underside. If we go to the upper side here, you can see I've already got the missiles programmed in. Missiles, torpedoes programmed in. So 1 on each side. And they are actually ready to be welded. You can see on this one where the sun is shining, you can see the one here on the hard point is all ready to go. Ready to be welded. So that was the little bit of work. So just so you can see, the projectors are right here. So this one here is the one projecting for this right now. And these will be the 3 hard points on the bottom. I haven't actually programmed those in. And the same on this side. So green is it's powered on and ready. The aqua, the cayenne, whichever one you want to call it, is it has a blueprint loaded and is projecting. All right. So the other thing I did was actually create unique torpedoes for each one of these mounts. Why did I do that? Ease of firing when you're sitting in the cockpit is that you have a button that you push a button on your toolbar and the guidance block will lock onto a target. So it's basically target lock. And then you have another button that is programmed to launch. Okay, those are the 2 buttons you need for each torpedo. The concept here is that with these torpedoes being unique and coming from a blueprint being unique is that I don't have to reprogram my button bar every time I reload. Okay, normally if you had a single torpedo that you were copying and pasting onto all these different hard points, you would have to go and program your toolbar every single time. So my idea is if I have a unique torpedo that is specifically made for any given hard point, then I can program those guidance systems onto my toolbar. So I program it on, it's unique to that particular torpedo. When I fire the torpedo, yes, it goes away, but the projector is showing it there again. I weld it all up because it's coming from the same blueprint of the torpedo that I programmed in before. Then it should just have those buttons go active again on your toolbar, and off you go. So my idea was make it simple, program it once, and then the users can do whatever they need to do. So because this particular bomber is mostly vanilla, so it obviously requires the Digi mod to be in there, and the Torpedo mod to be in there. Torpedo and the Guidance mod. So really 4 different mods that are required for this particular build. I kind of hesitate to put it up on the workshop, but I will go ahead and put it up on the workshop with the caveat that it does need those other mods. So that's going to be the one thing that people may not like about it. But hey, a bomber is a bomber, right? So we should have a lot of fun with it. Anyway, so back to our playing with the actual torpedo over here. So how did I build the rest? So let's experiment a little bit. We'll get back to the large block torpedoes, it says. So we already built this. We've already got our hard mount. I'm going to do the hybrid. So we need a thruster package. We need a mount. We need a booster. And a torpedo conveyor and a merge. Alright. We're going to have to do this in stages. So, battery, reactor, cargo, and gyro. So we're going to have some slots open, but this will get us going for right now, and then I'll have to reload this toolbar. Why don't I put it on other toolbars? Because I actually have, this should surprise you all with me being a little OCD. I have all of my toolbars actually programmed to things that is my standard toolbar set. So I always go through and program. So these are I've got all my different doors. You see I have a grinder and welder on the screen there. Depending on what mods I have loaded is slot 6 and 7 there might have a door in it. So those are my most favorite doors. The Darth Biomech large gate, love that thing. It's 1 block wide. It's actually one block thick, 5 blocks wide, but the 2 outer blocks they actually go into other blocks. So you see them, they're part of the model, but where the mount points are is actually on the 3 by 2 side. So it's too tall. The door is 3 wide, which opens 3 wide, but I always liked it because I can open this door and fly through, and I'm not, beating the snot out of myself trying to get through the doors. I really hated the original doors. Absolutely hated them because it was so hard to get through them. So the sliding door I use a whole lot more. The number 9 slot there that you can see is that airlock block that I was telling you about. And the forward portion of that is all of my different armor blocks. So that's what's going on there. 2, these are all the Kenty blocks. 3, these are all the different conveyors. These are the armored conveyors. 5, these are all the interior conveyors. 6, this sets up tanks. So we have the OCD oxygen tank set, the OCD hydrogen tank set, the vanilla hydrogen tank, the vanilla air vent there. That's the conveyor air vent in slot number 5, and then the scaffolding. So I've got all 4 blocks of the scaffolding sitting out there. On my number 7 toolbar is some other gibberish, but stuff that I use in my builds very frequently. So obviously merge block. You can do an awful lot with merge blocks. That is the catwalks composite, the stairs composite, which is really just the stairs and the ramp. The LCDs, the 3 different flavors of conveyor tubes from Drifting Thoughts. We have the connector camera. Okay, that camera I was telling you about that fits inside the connector, so it literally is sighting on the connector. Awesome thing. And then that's the armored camera, also from Drifting Thoughts. So good stuff there. 8 then is the toolbar that I can do whatever I want with. And number 9 is my Windows toolbar. So that's my standard toolbar. So 8 becomes my only one that I can swap in and out, which yeah, is a little inconvenient, I guess. But if you consider that I have most everything that I need for building is going to be up on those other 8 bars, then I'm doing pretty good. So back to number 8. The first thing we need to do is we're going to punch up a number 5. I'm going to align it over here just for sake of aligning. So we'll put it about right there. Alright. The next one we're going to put in is the hard point. It's kind of hard to see, but that's where the hard point mounts. So up or down actually does become important. I know that sun is really in the way. So there it is. That's the hard point mount. So we're going to mount down. And does that really matter? Yes, it really does. Because you need your guidance system in there the correct way, and you need that top camera in there the correct way. Alright, so with the hard mount there, the next thing is the conveyor set. The next thing is our booster. Figure out how this booster goes in there. There we go. Booster. And then number 9 is our thruster. Alright, I'm going to go back here and change my colors because I oopsed. I think it's Control Shift. Yeah. So if you're ever wanting to color your entire grid, so you've picked a generic color and you say, okay, I don't really like that, Control Shift and center mouse button, and boom, you will color the entire grid. Okay, so looking at this, I just put thrusters on here. Why is it not working? Well, because this thing does not have any power yet. Alright, so remember the conveyor block was this one on the back. Okay, so we're going to put a reactor in there. We're going to put a battery in here, and we're going to put a gyro on the bottom right there, and then over here we're going to put the container. Alright, one of the interesting things is I see a solar panel here, but I don't know if the reactor actually is going to use any of that. So right now, no reactor power at all. I'm going to do the me thing. So even though, yep, here we go. So you can see that the thruster is at idle. Remember, that's the hybrid thruster there. Alright, one of the things we said about, so this is our mount point. We said there were 2 batteries and guidance on that mount, right? So let's go ahead and put our 2 batteries in because we have those. So I'm going to put the battery there and battery here. And when we come back and redo everything here, I think we have everything we need. We just need our other thing. So let's pull all those in. So I still have 1 more battery to put in, I think. So I should have 3 batteries, which I do. So no, I don't need another battery. Alright, so let's get rid of all these. So we need a remote control. We need the antenna. We need the sensor. We're putting in a camera. We're putting in guidance. And what else did we need? Got the remote control, the antenna, guidance camera. I think that's it. Blocks. Yep, I think that's it. Alright, so payload guidance. That one goes right there. I'm presuming that because there's an arrow, it really does matter. So that should be forward. And that's what I'm using as forward. Number 4 is the camera. So I don't know which way the camera is supposed to go, so I'm going to put it like that. Next is my antenna. Why am I putting it on this side? Because. So starboard side, port side, this is the port side. So I just put it on the port side. And the remote control. Okay, which I'm going to put like that. Now, the remote control being off to the side like that may screw things up. I really don't know. Alright, so the last thing to go in here is the sensor. Now, why a sensor? I'm putting sensors on because I want the most flexibility for the users, is really my intention here. So obviously one type doesn't fit all, but I figure the greatest flexibility here is to add all these different features in, and then people can work as they go. Alright, so once again we're going to set all of this to me. So payload battery 1, 2, and 3. Recharge auto. Alright. Let me go over here to my platform. I'm gonna grab how much do we have? Oops. Side because this is the container. Oops, sorry. Inventory to get into the container. You can see there's 2 things here. So we're gonna actually put. That's That's a little strange. Not actually letting me do that. Okay. I don't know if I did something wrong here, because this actually worked fine on the that's my hard point, right? Yeah, so this one should have been the conveyor. Oh, that's really strange. Well, I'm not sure how to get oh, that's actually not able to go through there. Huh, okay, that's really strange. So if I go into the cargo, I can't go across. But if I go into the reactor, I can. So that's an oops somewhere within the mod, I think. Alright, back to control panel. So, merge cylinder. So we'll call this the guidance assembly for the torpedo. We're going to call this torpedo hybrid thruster. I think everything else already has names. So this is torpedo Mark 3 large. Oops. Mark 3 Okay, what do I mean by torpedo Mark III large upper mount? So the small torpedoes were the Mark IIs. The reason I called them the Mark II versus the Mark III is small versus large. No other rationale behind it. Upper mount, what does that mean? Well, that CC interface, this one here, is facing down. So it needs a mount point underneath it, which means upper mount, right? It's got to be mounted on the upper side of something. So that's why I've designated that as upper mount. While we're in here, we're going to go ahead and change this from large grid to torpedo upper mount thing. How about? All right. Okay. All right. So we have camera, everything else here that might need something, and we're going to go ahead and let's look here just to make sure that this is all set to me, which it is. Alright, so we're going to Control X, delete that, Control V, paste it right back in the world, and then okay, that's strange. Merge blocks being what they are, kind of strange things sometimes. Beak! All hooked in. So if we come down here and play with this, you'll see that all of these things are now showing up in the entire thing. So we have indeed merged So we're gonna back off here so you can see the antenna there is functioning. We're gonna do a control B, Bravo, and bring this torpedo in. So this one should say upper mounting. That's not what I wanted to do. Upper mounting, we're going to go details. We're going to rename. So this is a large torpedo versus the small torpedoes. Close. Alright. So now that we have that, go ahead and turn that one off. Now that we have that, we're going to do just a tiny bit of configuration here. Okay. So we have all of our little mock-up here. We're going to do projector, we're going to do blueprints, we're going to pull up that torpedo we just created. Where'd it go? There we go. Large, upper, and okay. Now, you can see it just appeared over here. I just turned aqua, cayenne there. Alright, so let's start programming this thing, configuring. So we know our vertical is gonna be doing something. So that was the other way. There we go. One more. Alright, so that's high. Which way are we going? To, okay, I think should be just about somewhere. But we are one block off. How do I know that? Well, look, this is our mount right here. How do I know that? Because the sun is in my eye. Okay, so I need to go just one more forward, and then that one will mount up. So, one more. Projector, roll, this is our forward. Did I go backwards or did I go forwards? I went the other way. I went backwards. Okay. Projector. So I actually wanted to go the other way. There we are. Now, what you noticed here was the warning just went off. There it is. So this is our mount point. There's our missile. So one of the things I want to do, I'm going to go out this way. We can see hideaways over here. We're going to try and get kind of lined up on the front. So we kind of want line of sight. Now I am 2 kilometers away. Why did I just turn God mode on? Because I can't see anything when I'm flying backwards, but I want to keep centered on the platform here. But I want to get out to about 5 kilometers. So my thought was I'm going to run into that asteroid back here. Alright. Why did I come this far out? Because I have a target out here. I'm going to do here for the moment, well, actually what I can do is control panel. There's control panel. We're done with all those. We're going to play some more though, even though I'm right around an hour. So, why did I put the control panel here? Because I don't know why I put two. I want to change, so right now this is set up as nobody, but I want to set this as Space Pirates. And the reason we're setting this up as Space Pirates is so we can engage. That was the asteroid I was afraid I was going to hit. Lost my beacon. Oh, fly right by. Alright, so what we have to do is figure out how to weld everything up here. I actually may be able to do is put a twin welder down here. Gee, do I have the twin welders in? Yes, I do. Alright, so one of the things that I forgot to do up here is add in alright, this was actually gray, so we'll put this in here, and oh darn. Other problem here is there's nothing in that. So, container, this is in there, and we're going to put the rest in the connector there because I'm actually going to remove this and put something else in here. And we're going to leave that tiger orange just because. Alright, elsewhere container. Okay, and one of the things I want to do, I don't know if this will work or not. I think it will. Actually, actually, let's check one more thing because I want the projector to respond to keep projection. Okay, so the keep projection, it says after building is complete, useful for automated building but can degrade performance. So if you have a really huge blueprint that you're trying to project, it can cause you some lag. So just be aware of that. Alright. Oh, excuse me. Twin welder. On. Oh, because it's nobody. Alright. Twin welder off. Alright. And it did not weld up this front. So what I'm going to do is put another welder here and then connect it in. So I think that was on number 8. Put that there. This is going to be a T. This is going to be a T. And then, uh-oh, not a T. This is actually going to be a, that one. That way that's all connected in. Okay, and then we need elbow. So elbow and elbow. Right. Looks like they're both connected in now. And the connector is connected. So what we're going to do is put a button over here. Got single button. I'm not sure what mod is bringing that in. So let's stick with vanilla, unless they might have added that into the game. I don't remember. Guess we'll put that right there. So go to the control panel first. We now have 2 welders, the twin welder 1 and twin welder 2. Yes. Welders. Save. And we can actually turn those 2 off. Alright. So we have a button panel. We want to set this up. So groups, welders. So in button number 1 is welders, which we're turning them on and we're turning them off. All blocks. We have a hard point. Well, actually, guidance. Guidance is lock on. Guidance is missile launch. Alright? So, the first thing we want to do is weld this up. So, if you saw, we had some sparky, and then all of a sudden, all that's done. Which is really cool, huh? So the next thing we're going to do Target lock. I don't know if a target locked. So let's look at the guidance. Let's see. Lock on target. Strange. It's not entirely. All right, so let's change our plans here just a little bit. We'll put a gyro on here, and then we will put a cockpit. Try again here. T. We'll set up our button bar. Groups. Welders on off. Toggle block. All blocks is our guidance, which we're going to go ahead and say that one. Then launch missile. Launch. All right. Okay. Info. Well, it is a ship. So, 5. Well, these are not working very well. At least not as expected. And for whatever reason, the gyro is not doing anything either. Gyro. Info. Convert to station. Convert to ship. Oh, that's why. I forgot about that. So 5. So the only thing out in front there, I don't know if it's actually locked on to anything or not. Maybe not. Nope. And disappear. Might still be out there somewhere. Alright. That's definitely a big grid. Next. I don't know what that is. 2. Oh, there it is. Alright, so I guess we're gonna get rid of that. Because clearly that did not lock on. as we expected. Alright, so the good news is, after we launched the missile, then this thing just came right back. Alright, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to delete that. We're going to paste it right back in. I'm going to go into the B and see if I can get a little more lined up on that thing. Alright, so back into the cockpit here. Not perfect, but I'm pretty close. So 9. It should weld everything up really quickly. Okay, so this also is, I think, proving the theory that this is not going to be a static thing. Alright, so lock on 5. Target locked, which is exactly what I wanted to see. And 6. Okay, that it just sat there. Alright, so let's do a K. That's all me. Large grid. Oh, because I don't have a remote control. Alright, let's see if we can okay. That's all me. So guidance lock on target. Okay, state locked and launch. 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 Huh. Huh. All right. So, strangely enough, that has no uranium in it, which makes sense. Okay, so we discovered that. Okay. You know what? I think we're going to chase this down. So it's locked on. It said it was locked on. But definitely not aiming for this thing. So, strange. says 22, but I don't see any grids here. But no control there. All right. F6. So we definitely got some bugs to work out here. Alright, so clearly we have some things that we need to learn in our missile testing lab here. So what I think I'm going to do is break here. I'm quite a bit over an hour, which I did not really intend to do, and we will pick this up in the next episode. So this is Kenty Tiger signing off, and we will see you next time.